Hello viewers, this is going to be part one, perhaps the only part of cleaning and servicing this Casablanca ceiling fan. I think I forgot to show the tag in the initial checkout, which is kind of dopey, but this is a Four Seasons 3, and it's type hanger type, whatever that's supposed to mean, 0.85 amps. So we're going to give this thing a test here. I don't think I've ever showed this on video before, but this is something I use to test ceiling fans. Just a really short piece of wire with a plug bit on it, and you can pretend this is your wire coming out of your ceiling and connect this up, and then we can test it just on the bench here rather than having to hang it, because that sucks up more time. And who wants to invest time into a fan that doesn't work? So let's get this connected here. I'm going to just cap off the light wire for now because I don't have a light to use on here at the moment, and that's really not a function that can work or not work. It's just a wire. I certainly hope it works. Okay. Alright, now we are ready to do some testing. Not sure what speed this is on, if it's on or off or whatever. Okay, it's running. Where's the chain at? There it is. This is high, medium, low, off. It is running. I don't know if you're seeing that on the video or not. Okay, and we'll switch the direction. Okay, that is working. The bearings are not silent, but they are nowhere near the noise level that a lot of the fans that come in the shop have. So we'll put a couple drops of oil in there and that should be good enough. Alright, so now that we know this works, we're going to go ahead and take the motor assembly off the top, and we'll put some oil into the motor, or into the bearings rather. That's getting annoying, so we'll just take that off for the time being. So remove these three screws up here at the top, and this should release the motor housing from the top. It may not come off because the down rod ball will be too big. I think we can remove that pretty easily though. Oh dear, this one is pretty locked. There it goes. Okay. This is free now. It's not going to come off because that's in the way, so let's go ahead and remove that. I don't really like these things. There's no good tool to get them off, at least not that I own. This is not really the best way to do it because you risk stripping it out. Okay, and then the down rod. There's one screw up here. Unscrew that, pull the bar out, and remove this screw. we go. So now we can clean and put a few drops of oil in the bearings. I'm not going to record clean this, I'm just going to wipe it down with a cloth. So I'll do that and then we'll be back on the video. Okay, so I just washed off the motor, that's all clean. Cleaned this off. And I also cleaned this. And several of those marks that were on here cleaned off, so this looks very nice now. So now we're going to oil the motor, for whatever that's worth. Part of me doesn't believe this actually does any good. Some people say it does. I don't know what to believe in this case, so we'll do it. I don't see what harm it could do. But at the end of the day, I don't really think it makes a big difference. So I'm just going to put the oil in between where the bearings, pieces of bearing rotate. Which on this, oops, that's no good. You know, let that work in for a minute. You oil a little bit more. It does seem like it's spinning a little more freely now. But I don't really hear any difference in the noise. Okay, I'm going to dry off the excess oil down here. I don't want oil just sitting around there, it's going to collect dust and that's not good. So we'll clean that off. And now we'll do the same thing to the top bearing. Now this one's not as easy to get to at all. That oil work in for a minute and then we'll put the motor housing back on. Okay, we're going to reassemble the motor now. Okay, well that was substantially more difficult than I feel it should have been, but here it is, clean and looking nice, ready to go. So now we're going to clean the blades. Got another good use out of my very long screwdrivers. I bought these for one specific project and now I think I'm going to be using them all the time. Okay, so we will take the blades off, clean the blades, clean the irons, and then put them back on. Could clean them all together, but I want to switch it to the oak side anyways. Alright, the blades have been cleaned. They cleaned up pretty good, I have to say. The white side, not so much. Actually, it looks like this was hand painted now that I'm looking at it closer. There's a couple places where it's chipping off on the sides. Now granted, my knowledge of Casablanca is not exhaustive, but I don't recall them selling a lot of blades that were reversible to begin with. So I have a feeling that this may have been painted by the previous owner, but either way, these are usable with the oak finish, which I kind of like better anyways. If I was to use the white side, it just needs to be repainted, which can be fixed in a matter of minutes. To be honest, the irons could use a repaint as well. They got some scratches on them, but nothing that's really going to be very noticeable on the ceiling. Of course, everything looks worse now while we're in the studio looking at it under intensive light, from 3 inches away. Once it's on the ceiling, it's not going to be a big deal. So we'll get the irons put back on the blades, and we'll mount it up and give it a test. Okay, we are ready to go. I will now begin assembling it. Actually, no, we'll do that in another video. We'll do the test in another video. This will wrap up part 2, and then we'll do part 3, which will be the testing.